morning, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. Got everybody in the house. What's happening, gentlemen?
How you doing, sir?
Oh, it's early morning, coffee in hand. Mariners just absolutely imploded. It's a typical Wednesday.
Typical summer. It's typical summer in Seattle, huh?
Hey, shout out to the Mariners for never making it hard to figure out what I'm going to watch in October.
Well, I will tell you, when I saw this last night after the Phillies won their game, and then I got to watch a whole concert of Flo Rida.
Yep.
Which, I was surprised at how many songs I knew.
Yeah, where's Flo Rida from? Where's Flo Rida from?
He's from Miami.
Oh, is he? I didn't know.
So, I didn't see that's. I only knew that because he said how exciting it was that a guy from Miami was blessed to be able to play a concert after a baseball game. So that's the only reason why I knew that. And his name spells Florida, but. Anyways, so I come back home and I see that it was 22-0, and I'm looking at it, and I looked this morning, and it was 1-0 going into the fifth inning.
Yes, and then it was like 5 runs an inning, and then just to wrap it up in the 8th inning, they put up like 9 or 10, right. Something like that. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I wasn't watching it in real time. I was score chasing it, and I was like, okay, hey, we're doing pretty solid against, the Brewers, who are a good team. And I was like, okay, all right. We won the series against the Astros. We were kind of having a good showing at first against the Brewers. I was like, okay, maybe we can, go on a run here and still miss the playoffs, but, at least make it interesting. And then the wheels really started falling off. And it was funny because the alerts were coming through reversed. So the alerts made it look like the Mariners were beating the brakes off the Brewers. And then if you clicked on it, then it was correct. So I was like, oh, the Mariners are up 12-0. Like, what is happening right now? And so then I click on it. I was like, oh, this makes way more sense. They're down 12-0. And so then
actually, and that was happening all night long with all the apps. I guess for whatever reason, it had that the Marlins won the game.
Yeah, it was weird. The alerts were backwards, and I don't know why. But then as soon as you click through, then it was correct. So I'm not sure what was happening there, but it was funny because I was like, oh, let me check the score, and it looked like the Mariners were crushing, and I was just like, yeah, okay. I don't know where our bats came from, but cool. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, you got me. All right. And then, to add insult to injury, they're down 19-0. And I was trying to get this video, but it isn't loading correctly this morning. But Julio catches this pop fly, forgets there's only 2 outs, chucks it into the stands, and then it goes to 22. And fortunately,
it was bases loaded, by the way.
They were loaded. Yep. So that deep fly brought one in, and then him throwing it over the wall brought in 2 more. And
wait, time out. I'm sorry, guys.
What?
19-0. The center fielder doesn't realize there's only one out.
Yep.
And he throws the ball.
Can't even make that up.
Have we had enough of Julio? Have we had enough of this guy?
I mean, I have a feeling that this this whole thing might be coming apart at the end of the season anyway. So,
no, what's new?
In any event,
what's new? The Mariners stink. What's new?
Yeah, no, I mean that's why I said they never make it hard to know what you're going to watch in October, because it'll be full on Seahawks action. But yeah, I mean, so he ends up chucking it into the stands. Just a single play culmination of how that whole game went. But yeah, crazy, disappointing.
So here's a few things that happened yesterday. The Mariners doubled their run differential for the season. They had negative 23. They now have negative 45.
Nice.
You know, that was so ultimately when he threw that ball into there, that was their fourth error of the game, actually, because that was considered an error. It
was definitely an error.
It didn't clear the bases, though. Only 2 runs scored on that.
Or yeah, I guess everybody moves one bag. So yeah,
two bags when he throws it out of play from where they were. So the man on first winds up on third, and everybody else scores. So
that would have brought 3 in.
No, the man on because the guy got out. It was bases loaded.
Yeah, and the guy on third
score, man on first goes to the third. Now,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because once he catches the ball and then throws it out of play, there is no tag up.
Yeah, the guy on third did tag either way, but
but
yeah,
it doesn't
that's
matter.
right. That's right. Yeah, just the 2.
So
that's
two
right.
bases. So the man on first winds up on third, and then somebody gets a single after that.
Was that single play? Was that single play of Rodriguez throwing the ball out of the play, which was stupid? That was stupid. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just asking this question because Miami lost a heartbreaker to Philly when the play call, the ref called the ball foul when it was actually fair. Philly got a gift, didn't they? Philly get a gift in Miami recently?
Yes. So what happened was that was I want to say it was on second and third. It might have been bases loaded. The ball actually landed on the line, and he called it foul. But because he called it foul, and it was going down, it went down into the corner, he probably would have cleared the bases. But because of that, he only got 1 base. It was only a single because they called the play dead. They didn't give him the out, but they only got 1 run in because of that. And the next play, the inning wound up ending. So yes, the Phillies were beneficiary of that.
Gifted a W.
Well, you can't gift it. You can't gift it. You can't say it's gifted when the umpires make a mistake like that.
I'm just messing with you, man.
But yeah, they were the beneficiary of that specifically. Same thing yesterday, though. I mean, they gave it back to the Marlins yesterday because Schwarber hit a home run that hit off the pole, and you could tell it hit off the pole. And then they said, "Nope, foul ball."
That's a foul ball. Yeah.
And just like the umps, you too can bet on sports by using the QR code on the screen. Up to 125% of first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee. Bet alongside us right here on Coast to Coast.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm using, but I will tell you that I have been making a lot of money. You know, I'm not a gambler, but I have different from US. I have been doing
different from the US.
No, different from US. The one that
bet us. Yeah.
I've been doing this. It's like a Kalshi. It's called Novig, Novig, and I've been learning how to do these bets, and you can make a lot of money. I tell you, betting Harper to walk in a game will make you a lot of money.
Sure.
It's been ridiculous that it's like he walks. I want to say he walks at least 1.5 times a game. And
I could see that.
I've just been hitting it. It's like, it doesn't matter that it's minus 150. You just bet $50 on it. You win 33, and it's because he's going to walk. He's going to get a walk each one of these games, and it's like free money almost.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised, Nick. There's probably going to be some players on the move after this season. They weren't sellers at the deadline, but they might be sellers after the season.
Yeah, J-Rod was supposed to be the face of that franchise. So
how long ago was that? How long ago was that?
They still try
3
and
years
make
ago.
Yeah, they still try and make that a thing. But yeah, it's been 3-4 years now. Yeah,
that he's been kind of a no-show. That was my point. That
he is a really streaky batter. Like he'll go on these runs where he's super hot, and then he'll be non-existent for a few weeks also. So I mean, he is wildly inconsistent. When you look at his overall numbers at the end of the season, you're like, oh, he had a decent year. But when you watch it in real time, like it's not consistent enough to count on him in the lineup.
I was surprised. I mean, when I think about this, they tried to make him A-Rod, you know, and I understand why they tried to do that. I feel like that they paid him too soon. And the way what I mean by that specifically is that, I understand they don't, the Mariners do not like to go to arbitration. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing for them. They, for whatever reason, they choose not to have arbitrators discuss money. So they try to beat the contracts. And I feel like they paid him a season early. And he forgot to put in all the work that he was putting in beforehand. He was putting in that work, and then he got paid. And
was he putting in the work? Was he putting in the work? Was he putting in the work, or was he just a good baseball player?
You know what? You're right. I can't answer that question, Cam. I can't.
So that's what I'm saying. Because if I would say if he was putting in the work, he gets better. If he was putting in that work, he improves and he takes advantage of situations. I'm not the hugest baseball fan, but this guy, the team when they went to the playoffs, not last year. What was it? 2 years ago when they broke the slump.
22.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
The slump of not being in the playoffs. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing slump. Not the longest North American team never to make the playoffs. I think that was a 22. Like he had a bad season. His season wasn't a good season that year, but the team made the playoffs. I haven't been. I'm not the baseball aficionado, but I haven't been impressed by this guy. You call me Cameron Kirchin, but I haven't been impressed by this guy at all. One season. So that's why I asked that question. Was he just a good baseball player, or did he just not and he has it and he's just living on the talent, or is he putting in the work? I don't think.
And the only reason why I can say this, Cam, was because 4 years ago before he signed, I was watching a documentary about him going in to sign, from ESPN, and it wasn't a 30 for 30 or anything, but they showed the highlights of his career and the work ethic that led up to the point where the Mariners actually brought him in to sign. And then they showed the moment of him signing where they made a little bit of a haze out of it, where they busted his chops a little bit before he actually signed the contract, but then they offered him all that money. And when you see the guy, like I said, he was younger then, and this is highlights. So you're seeing how much work it looks like he's putting in at that time. Is he really putting in all that time? I can't guarantee that. The camera can make everything look a lot better than it really is. But it just seemed that way to me. And that next year, he actually had a great year. I want to say that was 21. Because he signed in 20. It was the COVID year, I believe, that he got that money. And then 21, he had a good year. 22, he had a down year. And yet they made the playoffs. So, and that was the year. You think about the difference of what happened in that 18-inning game. Had that 18-inning game changes, if the manager does not pull that pitcher and I think leaves that pitcher in for the 18th inning, that the outcome could have been different. Sure. I can't guarantee it, but it's like, you're at 18 innings, and I just thought, like, that's a mistake. Don't do that. And he did it anyways. And, the Astros score a run, and that ends that game. And then you guys get swept. But if the Mariners win that game, it doesn't say that the Astros don't come back and win that series, but an 18-inning loss is a little defeatist. It defeats you a bit. It's like losing a 4 or 5 overtime game in hockey. So I had, you never know what could have happened. It could have been the Mariners that beat the Phillies in 22 rather than the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, 22, they were a good team. They were a good team. But yeah, I mean, losing that one was tough. Like, that was it was game one. A mental breaking, appeared to be a mental breaking situation.
Right, because you guys were on a little bit of a streak. You guys had won like 8 of 10 to get into the playoffs, into the wild card. You swept the wild card, and then you're in Houston, and you are battling Houston at it's like a 1-1 game. I mean, that game ended 2-1 for 18 innings. Yeah, no, it was crazy. So, I mean, I could say the same thing about Topper. In the 6th inning or 7th inning, not pulling Wheeler and not bringing in Ranger. You brought in Alvarado to face against whoever their home run hitter is over there, and that ball's still traveling. I will never forget that home run as long as I live. And I was out in center field, with a bunch of Astros fans. I was the only Philly fan out in center field with the DJ. I was the only one they let in, because I knew a bunch of those guys, and they knew that I was good people. But that ball, they said it went 450 feet, and I know it went every bit of 500 feet. That ball wound up clearing the stands and went into the vestibule or the walkway, and they said it was 450 feet. I'm like, no way, that was every bit of 500 foot. He hit it was like 480, 490 at the very least.
So StreamYard finally let that clip load. So here is this mental meltdown from Julio.
Shutout margin of victory is 20-0. As Yelich flies out for the second out, and there is run. Number 20, but he threw it up. He threw it up. He did. He threw it into the bullpen. He thought it was last out.
You got, aren't you? Isn't he the guy in between out?
Not a home run. No, it's an out.
So 1 out.
2 bases from the field for both of the runners. I couldn't figure out where the ball was. Yeah, he thought it was 3 outs. So that'll be an error.
That would be an error.
Isn't that his job to do this between plays?
2-1.
Isn't that his job, Julio?
I'll tell you. I mean, listen, it was a mental breakdown of epic proportions, and yes, he
just deserved
to put his head down. To put his head down after that. However, I'm not giving him an excuse. But
it sounds like you're trying. It sounds like you're about to.
You get 5 runs in the 5th, 5 runs in the 6th, 2 runs in the 7th, and then you are in a 9-run debacle.
Yeah.
In the 8th, and you only have 1 out. You're like, finally, this inning is over. Oh no, it ain't.
Yeah.
It's just
this
like
this day just keeps going.
Yeah, it was just like that. Yeah, so I get it, and it's a ridiculous look, and he should know exactly how many outs there are. But that may be That's the throwing in the towel for the season.
Yeah.
That is exactly what that shows. That unless all of a sudden you come back and you battle back now, be like, hey, listen, we just had that. And the manager, if the manager hasn't flipped out and flipped over tables and started to like destroy lockers and stuff like that absolutely should have happened last night in that locker room. Absolutely. And they should come out and, like I said, if you don't have 3 of the next 4 games wins, then that moment is the throwing in the towel of the season. You guys are still 4 games out, and you guys have won 3 of the last 10. I know it's a rough patch.
3 of the last 10. You hear yourself? You hear yourself?
Oh, no.
It's 3 of the last 10, and you're talking about this can turn they can turn their season around. Do you hear yourself?
Not saying you turn their season around. I'm saying that
you're just saying if they can come out and win 10 games after this
3 of the next 4. 3 of the next 4. They need to show. You need to show.
They won 3 of 10 games. They won 3 of the last 10 games. What makes you think they're going to win 3 and 4 games?
It happens all
honestly, the time. It doesn't matter because this was the first game against the Brewers, and the Brewers are going to beat the brakes off them a couple more times. Not like this, but they're probably going to lose all 3 of these games.
The Mariners are embarrassing. I think we gave the Mariners way too much time this morning.
I mean, you hate the Mariners just for no reason. So
this is why. This is why. I grew up in Seattle, and I'm not a baseball fan because of the Seattle Mariners, because they stink. This isn't new. This isn't new. They stink. Pags, can I ask you a question, Pags?
You can.
The Fox Sports wrote an article recently. Bucky Brooks and my man Eric Williams put together the list of the players that have the most pressure on them in the NFL this season. Number 1 on their list is the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you agree that
I agree
he has the most pressure on him this season?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know their reference in who is under him. So I don't know.
No, he's number 1. He is the number 1.
No, I understand that, but I when you put him number 1, like who do you put number 2, 3, and 4? I'll be honest. I think Josh Allen has a lot more pressure on him than
Josh Allen. Josh Allen was not on the list, and that was I thought the same thing. Pax. I thought I had Josh Allen 2, but Lamar is 2. I don't have who with 3. C.J. Stroud was 4th. Travis Hunter 5th. Bryce Young was 6th. A.J. Brown 7th. Herbert with 8th. And then that was my argument. I was arguing about Herbert. But so I
will agree. I will agree that there is a tremendous amount of pressure that should be put on Jalen Hurts. You don't go from Super Bowl MVP and then have the season that you had last year and then be able to kind of write off as an excuse that there was a cancer in the locker room and it had nothing to do with you. I feel
I wouldn't go to the cancer in the locker room. I wouldn't even bring that up. I would talk about his 6th offensive coordinator. That's the issue I would have.
Listen, he's had a brand new offensive coordinator every season. Every season. We have not been able to keep an offensive coordinator from year to year. So it's always somebody new that's coming in. That being said, I feel that you can't be the Super Bowl MVP and then have the season that you did last year and not have – you have to have this bounce back season. If you have a comparable season to last year, it creates too many question marks, and I feel that then answers your question on re-signing and stuff like that. It's now time to go find the next quarterback. There is real. That's real. The pressure that's going to be on him this year, on that he has to be able to do that.
You, as a longtime Philadelphia Eagles fan, would you I don't know how to phrase this. You can see this being Hurts' last year as a starter? Or
No,
you would
actually. So here's. I also believe. I will tell you that I am more of a Hurts believer than others. I know what type of work he puts in. I have seen the amount of study and effort and want and desire to be the best that ever played the game. Listen, that takes a certain type of mentality, and he has that. He has that mentality. Now, whether he succeeds at accomplishing his goal in being the best that ever played the game, that's going to take years before he can ever see that in any real way.
To fruition. Yeah, see that
Correct.
to fruition.
But
let me ask you a question.
It's got to start this year. He's got to be able to show that 2 years ago and 4 years ago was not a fluke, that he is the type of quarterback that can lead teams to championships. And I tell you that if we were to go back to the NFC Championship game this year and then win that and go to the Super Bowl, and he goes to his third Super Bowl in 6 years, it doesn't matter what anybody says. Because I tell you, tomorrow I got to do the same thing. I have to fight Jason because Jason is absolutely a Hurts hater. You know, he does not like Hurts. Yeah. He thinks he's not the guy. But if he was to make it to an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter what type of team you have around you, because I'll make the argument now that the Bills have just as good a team as the Eagles do. And, you know, Jim Kelly can't win the big one. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what it is that they've got going on right there with Josh Allen. So if he makes it to a Super Bowl again, and whether he wins or loses,
the heck out of me. You just confused the heck out of me.
I threw in Jim Kelly from the 80s.
Are you talking about the Bills from the 90 Bills?
The 90s. Well, I'm talking about Josh Allen. I'm comparing Jim Kelly and Josh Allen. So in that statement.
Well, one more time. Try that again. You lost me. Try that again. Josh Allen. I'm sorry.
I compared in that statement that I made. I compared Jim Kelly and Josh Allen.
But please try that again, wrapping that up with Jalen Hurts. I didn't understand the comparison.
What I was saying is that no, my comparison is that he has to get to the NFC Championship game and or the Super Bowl this year. That anything less than that is a show that it's the team around him and not him. It doesn't matter how good of a team that you have. And like a quarterback is still necessary, and the quarterback has to play very good to elites to be able to lead their team to a championship and a Super Bowl. They have to play very, very good. There's even Trent Dilfer, when he was with Baltimore, played very good to be able to win the Super Bowl. I understand that they had a defense
come on.
Yeah, but he had to play good. You can't be turning the ball over.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't necessarily play great. He did protect the football. He did do that. Like he wasn't a liability. He didn't do anything special, but he wasn't a liability. So yeah.
I think that's a huge downgrade. you got.
What are you talking about? Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl doing exactly that. He didn't do anything special in that game, but he didn't mess up the game.
No, that's what he's talking about. He's saying, or if I understood you correctly, Jalen Hurts needs to get his team to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, or his season. He needs to do that to justify his position in Philadelphia. Is that what you were getting at?
No, I was stating more the fact that All right, so I'm giving a couple liberties here that you're hearing Jason's arguments most of the time, and that's tomorrow's argument.
No, I don't know who Jason is, man. I'm talking.
No,
to
I
you,
understand
but
that. So I'm
talking
going to
to you,
I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this. Jason tomorrow explains that the Eagles have an elite team around Jalen Hurts, and because of that, Jalen Hurts only has to be meh to be able to get to the playoffs and win games. I'm saying
that's when you're throwing. He has to be just a little bit better than Dilfer.
He has to be better than that if you're going to get to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl and win it. That you do not just get to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Now, there are some very limited exclusions to that. One being the Ravens with Trent Dilfer. You know what I mean? Yeah. I understand that. That's a different scenario, but that's a one-off. You know what I mean? It's like there are times where there are one-offs that can win Super Bowls.
Not but that
happens very, very few and far between.
It's not a one-off if it happened multiple times. But
that happened multiple times in 8 years, and I will tell you that Flacco was a much better quarterback than Trent Dilfer. At least that year.
Sure.
So I'm not trying to compare that team. I'm just saying that there are the exceptions to the rule that I'm talking about here, but ultimately you need to have all the parts of the team. And arguably you could say in Super Bowl 57 that Jalen Hurts, short of the fumble that gets returned for a touchdown, you take that play out of the game, and you can't, obviously, because that's a big play in the game.
So let's stop the conversation.
But he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that game.
Just say that. Just say he potentially outplayed the quarterback. He
should have been the MVP. He should have been the MVP in the loss. But you can't give him the MVP in the loss when Patrick Mahomes comes back in that second half. There's no way you can do that. You know, and I'm a realist. You know, I was at
I'm surprised that Jalen Hurts is number one on your list. That blew me away. Do you agree with that, Bo? You have Jalen Hurts having the most pressure again.
He wasn't number one on my list because, like I said, I believe Josh Allen.
You agree with this? You said you.
Well, no, I agree with the pressure. I agree with the fact that he has the pressure. But I think Josh Allen and I believe the quarterback in Baltimore also both of them have more pressure.
Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson was two. Josh Allen was not on this list, and that was my
which makes me think that list is fugazi. If you don't have Josh Allen on that list, they have a brand new stadium. He has been over and over and over. Last year was his year. Last year he should have won that Super Bowl,
and the fact that with nobody else being in it.
Yeah. The fact that he did not is just to show that he is the one that absolutely has the most pressure. CJ Stroud, I understand where they're coming from with that. I feel that he should.
Somebody gonna lose their job. You got Hurts out if he doesn't.
Trevor Lawrence should have an amazing amount of pressure on him.
You know, I don't know if he does.
I don't
know if he does anymore because I think everybody's realized that Lawrence is who he is. Like I think everybody's realized he's not that elite talent that they were trying to make him be, whereas Josh Allen is still viewed that way. So I think Josh Allen has the most pressure, and Jalen Hurts is right there, right? I think Lamar has
Patrick Mahomes on that list.
No. Mahomes is not on this list. I don't think there's pressure on Jalen Hurts. I was surprised Jalen Hurts was on this list. I don't think there's pressure on Jalen Hurts. For whatever people want to say, he lost his best receiver. That's number one.
No, I think there's more pressure because of that.
He's lost his. He's got another offensive coordinator. He has to kind of learn a new scheme again.
Everybody has that. Everybody has that these days.
What's that?
Everybody has that these days.
They haven't had 6 offensive coordinators in 6 seasons. Nobody's had that. Everybody doesn't have that. I don't think there's pressure. I personally wouldn't put the pressure on Jalen Hurts. I don't think he needs to get to a NFC Championship or the Super Bowl.
Joe, you know that's not right.
Yeah.
Man, that is hilarious.
I don't think Jalen Hurts has that pressure. I think the more pressure is on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Josh Allen would be my number one in that scenario. Of who has the most pressure.
The fact that he's not on the list makes that list fugazi. I also, that being said, like I also put a certain level of pressure on Caleb Williams, because now you have to repeat what you did last year and get your team back to where they were last year. I mean, I initially was not a Caleb Williams fan. I'm still not a fan, but sure. I felt that he was not going to do what he was needed to do and was supposed to do. And then the fact that he got to the NFC Championship game last year is attributed to him. The fact that they
in his
scored
second year.
Points.
In his second year, he gets to the NFC
Correct.
Championship. You think there's pressure for him to get back there again?
I think that there's pressure on him.
Just a divisional game. They didn't get to the championship.
I do not. He's above his skis. I mean, he's above schedule. He's ahead of schedule.
Like they didn't. I feel like you got to step forward. You have to step forward. You cannot take a step backwards.
I think they may regress. They won. They had a bunch of turnovers. In 9 games they had created like multiple turnovers in 9 games, consecutive games, some crazy stat like that, where they just kept getting the ball back. I don't think they're going to have that same situation. That was not sustainable. It happened. I think again, I'm not sure the exact stat, but I think they had 9 games of multiple turnovers where they generated. I don't think they're going to generate that. They're not going to have that same kind of.
Not only that, I don't think that they're going to have production. Like they were outscoring teams, and they just ran into team. They ran in the playoffs. They ran into a team that outscored them.
Well, like I'm saying, and that goes to them creating turnovers. I just don't think that's going to happen again. That's one of those things that you win in close games. Who was that? The Broncos won 14 or 15 close games decided by 4 points or less. Like, I don't see that happening again in the season.
The Vikings did it a few years. The Vikings did it a few years ago where they were 11-0 in one score games. So I mean, like,
where were they the next season? Is kind of my point. Some of those,
exactly. They were like 4-6 or something.
Exactly, and that's why I think it's going to happen to the Bears. The Bears are not going to be a bad team. I just think those gifts that they had and those opportunities that Caleb had, I don't know that they're going to be there this season. We'll see, but that's just kind of my projection. So I don't have Caleb Williams on my list at all. Bryce Young is huge. Bryce Young and what he does in Carolina, and I was saying C.J. Stroud. You could have Jalen Hurts having to get to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl to maintain his job. C.J. Stroud, I think, needs to get to the Super Bowl to maintain. Well, I'm saying that being facetious. If he got his team to the playoffs, that would be a rebound from what he did last year. I mean, even though they went to the playoffs, he needs to have a better season statistically because they got to the playoffs, but he just stunk it up in the playoffs. But I think there's a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud.
There's pressure there.
You're misunderstanding
Caleb is definitely going to have some.
What I'm saying with Jalen Hurts is that if they do not go to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, that it could be looked at that it's the eliteness of the team that's getting them there and not the play of Jalen Hurts. Sure. Now, obviously, the season itself has got to play out. We got to see how this goes. And like I said, I am a Jalen Hurts believer. So I believe that this is all going to play out in real time, and we're going to see how great. Because the one thing that I will say about Jalen Hurts is that his ear is to the ground, and he hears all the things that are being said about him, and that fuels him. That's ears
to the ground. That's rabbit ears. That I don't. I can see that. I can see that both ways. But you're saying that that fuels him.
That fuels him, and because he wants to be able to prove everybody wrong, and he's been doing it since the national championship game where he got pulled. It's just ever since then he has had this drive to be the one holding the trophy at the end of the season. What was more impressive to you? I have a picture right there. It's him smoking a cigar, holding the trophy between his legs. You know what I mean? So it's like
what was more impressive to you? Him maintaining a good attitude after getting benched, or going to Oklahoma and having the season he had with them?
So I will tell you that I don't follow college football well enough to be able to understand how to answer that question. I just don't. I don't know. Like, I know what he did, so I could be impressed with what he did. I can't speak for his attitude and how he dealt with the transition of going from Alabama to Oklahoma. I know that Oklahoma had a much better season with him as the quarterback, and I feel like that's tied to his work ethic. And I feel that when he came here, when he was drafted by the Eagles, which again was a surprise, I'll never forget the way, because it was the COVID draft, and I was live on StreamYard to everybody, and they drafted him, and I was like, oh,
you didn't know who Hurts was?
Got a quarterback.
You didn't know who he was, huh?
But I knew who he was because they showed me who he was. But it was Carson Wentz was the franchise at that point.
Carson Wentz. You were a Carson Wentz guy.
I wasn't a Carson Wentz guy. I saw the problem of Carson Wentz the following season after winning Super Bowl 52.
Yeah.
I watched him fight his way back. And then when he got back on the field, every pass was trying to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. Yeah. And you can't make up for lost time. Yeah. And I felt like that every pass, every throw, every play, he was trying to win the Super Bowl. And you can't give that type of pressure to your team. Every play of, like, in the middle of the regular season, you cannot do that. That was why, interestingly enough, when he broke his back that season, and when Nick Foles took back over, that all of a sudden everything turned again, and that the Eagles went on a run, and had Alshon Jeffrey not missed that ball that going through his hands, it's possible they could have repeated as Super Bowl champions, because if you remember that year, that Super Bowl stunk between the Rams and the Patriots. There wasn't a touchdown pass at all. And it was like, that was was it 14-3 game, or it was a 13-3 game.
Hold on. Aren't you a fan of Buddy Ryan? You don't like defense now?
Oh, no, I love defense, and Buddy Ryan was amazing.
No,
Buddy Ryan was amazing.
That wasn't a bad Super Bowl. That was not a bad Super Bowl. That's all the reason I brought that up. I didn't mind that Super Bowl. This is a defensive Super Bowl.
But you know what? When you watch that Super Bowl, and like I said, I'll just do a little caveat into that. I watched when they showed the entire Super Bowl, like not just the game, but like what happened beforehand and what happened afterwards. And you watch the interaction between McVay and Bill Belichick before the game at the 50-yard line. And you hear how McVay was just gushing over Bill Belichick. I knew at that moment that they had lost. It was apparent that McVay was not able to coach in that game, because he was out coaching himself against Bill Belichick. I feel that's what happened. He did not. He's an offensive mind, McVay, and they scored 3 points against the defense that was a good defense, I mean, it was a really good defense because the Patriots in that offseason, after giving up 41 points to the Eagles, made sure that didn't happen again in the playoffs. And so they had a much better defense. But McVay now, if he could play that game again, if he can go back and play that game again now, McVay wins that game. And I think that just his first time being there, the way he gushed over Bill Belichick, the way that he put in his mind that mindset that he wasn't going to win this game. And I feel like that showed in that. Like, if you go watch, you could go watch it. You could find the interview or them showing the coaches meeting at the 50-yard line before Super Bowl 53, and you watch McVay and you watch his mannerisms and the way that they're talking, and you see he lost that game before the kickoff even happened, hours before the kickoff even happened.
Okay. I have one guy I'm questioning about is Justin Herbert. Is there pressure on Justin Herbert to win a playoff game this season?
Yes.
There should be pressure on him to be able to, he should win that division. I'll be honest. I feel like that they are a good enough team that they should win that division. I feel that Kansas City isn't strong enough. I feel that Denver won the division because it was a weaker division last year, but it wasn't a weak division. They are good enough, and their coaching is good enough.
The Denver defense is good enough for them to try and win that division again. I think it is between the Chargers and the Broncos. Casey's going to be.
I have the Chargers winning that division. I think Casey will be right there, but I have the Chargers winning that division. It's kind of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, you're due, buddy. I'm putting you on the list. You got to win that division. You're due, Justin.
I agree. I feel that he is, he should have been on that list. He absolutely should be on that list.
What's your thoughts of Kenneth Walker going to the Chiefs? Are the Chiefs going to get 1,000? Is he going to gain 1,200 yards with the Chiefs this season?
Well, in this scenario, does he stay healthy? Because he hasn't done that yet.
Well, I think he will stay healthy because Andy Reid does like to be running back by committee. And I think that if he doesn't get the 1,200 yards rushing, he will have some yards receiving. And I know his hands aren't the greatest, but that is one of the things that he will work on, that Andy Reid will work on for him, that they're going to throw the ball to him some. And I know that he's not used to that, but he's going to get some of those plays. But Andy Reid likes to use multiple running backs, and he plays the hot hands. So I feel that he's going to get production, but they also know, and Bo knows this, and you know this better than anybody, he gets hurt. So they're going to limit him, I think, to be able to extend him, to be able to make sure that he does better. Plus, you have a Patrick Mahomes that still likes to sling the ball. Patrick Mahomes, out of every other quarterback in the NFL, likes to play backyard football more than anybody else. He excels at the backyard football part. And I think the problem is
there's no receivers playing backyard ball with him. That's the problem. I think the Chiefs is going to have.
I think you're going to have. A resurgence from Travis.
You think so?
Travis,
he looked out of shape, man. Like it.
Man.
I understand. Man. I get it.
Pax,
he's going to do.
Pax, how old are you? I don't. I'm not going to ask the question. I'll take that back. I refute that. I reject that question. He's not getting. Travis had a good season last year. I don't expect him to have a great season this year.
That was like a lawyer saying objection to the question they just asked.
I was trying to object to my own question. I was trying to redact my question, but I was a little slow this morning. It's not even 7:00. Give me a break. I don't see it with Travis Kelce. It'd be nice if they had some receivers to step up to take the load off, but I think I don't think the receivers are ready to take the load off of Travis Kelce. I think he's gonna still be going to Kelce early until he realizes maybe that well's a little dry. That's what I expect. I don't expect Travis. Go ahead.
I would agree with that if you see him drop the balls, like Travis was dropping a lot of balls at the end of the season last year. Yeah. And ultimately you could almost say that it was Travis Kelce that wound up getting Mahomes hurt because he had to roll out and he had Travis on that pass that he got hurt, but he didn't throw it to him because he didn't trust him at that point. Yeah, so there was some of that happened during that play. That being said, I think that the Chiefs are good enough. We're going to find out exactly how good of a quarterback Patrick Mahomes is. And I think that great quarterbacks are great no matter what. And it doesn't matter who their receiving core is. They'll find that guy. And I think that you're going to see a little bit of a resurgence. Does Kansas City win the division? No. I think that they make the playoffs, though. I think that their aura and their mantra about them is going to make the playoffs. I think the AFC is weak. I really think the AFC
is weak. I disagree with their aura. Their aura, that aura is kind of faded, hasn't it? Like
it has, but I think it's strong enough to make the playoffs.
I don't know. Oh, okay. Does AJ Brown is 7th on this list as most players with the most pressure? Does AJ Brown have pressure on him in New England?
He does have to ball out.
He does.
I don't think he's got that pressure.
I don't think
he's not going to have to. He's not going to be the guy with the highest pressure by any means, but he does have some pressure to be that guy. And the reason for that is Diggs had a good season there last year. Mm-hmm. So if he can't,
I don't think that's pressure. He has a quarterback that's willing to throw the ball. Obviously, he knows how to run routes. He's going to catch passes. I don't think there's pressure for him he'll have a big season. He'll catch 100 balls. He'll score 10, 11 touchdowns. I don't think there's pressure on him per se, because if they don't make they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll make the playoffs. But if they don't make it to the AFC Championship per se, I don't think they're going to be like, AJ Brown brought him down. AJ Brown stinks. I think it'll be more.
Depends.
I think it'll be more. Like I think it'll be more Drake May.
It depends on if he has locker room issues.
I think it'd be more. I don't foresee that. I don't foresee the locker room issues. I think it'll be more Drake May fading back, or that defense not kind of stepping up.
CD probably does have some pressure on him. Absolutely, Jeff.
Does he? Does he? They just got to catch balls. I don't know. I disagree with that one, Jeff Champion. CD Lamb, why? They're just going to catch passes. If you play fantasy football, CD Lamb, George Pickens should be wide receivers 1 and 2, because Dak Prescott is just going to be putting the ball in the air all game long. I don't know where there's pressure with those guys. They're just going to be catching passes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. I think that all the pressure on the Cowboys is on their defense. Defense.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of that. If it takes a big step forward with all the new pieces, for sure.
Well, if that's exactly it. They invested a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of.
This is what I was thinking. The CD had a ton of drops.
Yeah, but they're not okay. True, that's not inaccurate. However, I don't think if he had the similar season where let's say he had 30 drops last season, I don't know what that number is. If he had 32 drops this coming season, they're not going to. CeeDee Lamb is not on the trading blocks. He's not going on the blocks. Like, they're comfortable. They're going to be like, okay, CD, what do we need to do? We need to help you catch the ball better. What can we do? He's not under pressure of losing his job. In my opinion, I don't think. Even if Pickens has another good receiver, another good season. Pickens is playing for a contract, so I think there's more pressure on Dak.
Do you think Dak is under any pressure that possibly losing his job?
Not at all.
Lose his job? No.
The Cowboys are going to have the highest scoring offense this season. The pressure is not going to be on that's what they do. They score points. That's what's going to happen.
They just didn't have a defense that could make a stop. But they were the number one scoring offense last year.
Yeah, their defense, I think, is gonna be improved because of their acquisitions, their draft picks and their free agency acquisitions. I think the defense is going to be improved, so that's what they're hoping on. But I don't think they're just playing good. They're just playing football. If you go out there and toss
one thing that I will say:
7-on-7. If you can play 7-on-7, come on, give me a break. I don't think there's any pressure in that, in my opinion.
That's where I think that they actually fell back. They put all their resources into the defense, and they've had a good, the running game was only so last year, but they have good receivers, and Dak is still Dak. I think that their offensive line is not anywhere near as good as it has been in the past, and that's going to dictate that offense this year. And I don't think where they scored a lot of points last year, but were outscored in a lot of games, I don't think that they're going to have that same type. I think that defensive lines are going to have field days with the Cowboys offensive line.
I mean, they're going to take a step back in scoring anyway, because their defense is going to be able to create a stop, which is going to have them on the field longer, right? Like instead of 45 to 42.
It's not going to be 45.
Oh, instead it'll be in the 30s because they're going to get have fewer opportunities since their defense is actually going to be able to slow teams down. But I don't know. Before we get out of here, it's something that I've been asked a ton about over the last couple of days, and there was an update on it, is the Terrion Arnold situation. Seahawks are expected to sign him. Now, he was here.
I thought they already signed him last week, Friday. He was here Friday.
So it has not been officially signed. He's been here in the building. So as of yesterday, it is updated as he will be on the commissioner's exempt list. He won't be able to practice. He can be in the building. And then obviously moving forward, it's pending the 8 felony charges that are ahead of him, including kidnapping. So we'll see how that goes. Then the outcome of that will then determine whether or not the NFL puts in any kind of suspensions or anything like that, which I fully assume there will be, even if he gets out of any real legal trouble there, because the NFL has a history of doing that. But regardless of how any of it goes down, he's going to be on the commissioner's exempt list. So he is expected to sign with Seattle here in the next week or so. They're basically working out some logistics of how to sign him.
Interesting. I mean, Mike McDonald, he sees a toy out there. He's just trying to figure out a way to implement him in his scheme.
I mean, he liked him when he was getting drafted. They just didn't have the position to go get him. So now they can get him, whether or not they actually do, because obviously if he goes to jail, then that's a wrap. But if for whatever reason he doesn't, then I would fully imagine that there's going to be some sort of suspension from the league. So, and then of course we just have to wait to see whatever that would be. That being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. If you're watching on YouTube or any other platform, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. And of course, if you are listening on 97.3 ICU Radio, we do have some smooth jazz headed your way. Otherwise, we're going to get up out of here. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.
All right. Sweet.
8 felonies.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got to imagine that's trumped up. Listen, anybody with 8 felonies pending, and you have team talking to you that listen, they knew right away with Hernandez in New England.
Yeah, that thing was a wrap.
Yeah, he's like, Bill's like, yep, that's we're done. Clear.
Yeah. Well, so from what I've heard so far on the Terry Arnold part of it is it sounds like the prosecution has some inconsistencies as far as the way the story is. And
it's called the girl is probably still with him.
This is, like his whole legal situation is bizarre, but so because there's that, I think is why Seattle was like, oh, okay, hey, let's take a deeper look at this. We'll sign him. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter because he's on the exempt list. So it's not like it hurts the team until something happens.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's a wait and see game for sure. But because there's some inconsistencies on the prosecution side, it'll be interesting to see if he does get a play this year. Because there's without a doubt going to be some type of suspension regardless, because the league is just, they do that. So even if you get exonerated, unless it's all the charges are dropped and it's nothing, then the league won't do anything. But if there's any kind of civil end of it, he's still getting suspended for some amount of time.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder, like, what's the story that, I mean, it's like, hey, it's like, you got all these charges against you, even if they all disappear, if all get dropped because there's not a case to be had there. It's like, okay. I mean, it's like, that's funny. It's just that whole, I don't even know what's going on. And it just, that the idea sounds funny to me. So, hey, good luck to the young man. Hopefully he can get to play, because ultimately they're going to have to sign him. And if there's going to be a suspension for 6 games, 8 games, 4 games, whatever it is, you need to have him on the roster so that he can start to have those, so that you could reinstate him. But none of that goes into effect until you actually have him signed for a team. And that's maybe what's going on here. That sounds more likely to be the case, is that somebody is friends with the agent in that organization, and they're doing this guy a solid by having him signed on a team. And ultimately it might be, he may have enough, actual, like, he can actually play the game well enough to be somebody worthwhile having on the team.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we're just going to allow this to play out, and so that you can play in the NFL again at some point, without having to have the burden of that many. Because like it says, if they give him a 6-game suspension and he's not on any team, the moment somebody signs him, you got to have that 6-game suspension play out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that sounds to me more like somebody's actually, helping out his agent.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, still has to get through all the legal proceedings first. So,
right.
I mean, that's the biggest hurdle is, the fact that it's a kidnapping case is bizarre.
That's the scary part. The scary part. It's like, it's like assault, things like that. Lots of different things can come of that. The kidnapping part that's the scary part. That's where they don't play.
Yeah.
With that. That's a, you if you want to hold somebody, don't lock the door. Keep the door open a little bit.
Yeah.
The moment you shut that door, it's kidnapping. It's a different scenario.
Yeah. No, I mean, the fact that there's 8 felonies on this thing is crazy, but
And I got to imagine, like I said, when you get to kidnapping, that means they also have felony, they're holding somebody here, and that it
and it was
escalates all
also
the way up to.
It was also robbery, and so basically some people stole stuff, and then he detained somebody that maybe didn't have it. I got to look further into it, but allegedly he held him at gunpoint, potentially pistol whipped him. There's
That's
right. So I mean, that's why I say, no matter how this thing goes down, even if charges are dropped, you were we are still on the air. Interesting. I wonder why it didn't end.